Hello again, this is Nicole, and I'm doing this video to answer another language question that I get all the time. Should you study more than one language at once? The short answer is, well, I guess there really is no short answer. Yes, of course you can do it, but there are some advantages and disadvantages. Well, one of the disadvantages is that you can confuse the language, especially if the languages are similar. Even if they're not similar, you can do that. I have had this experience so many different times of studying a language, and because Spanish is the one that I am strongest in, I automatically will start going over to Spanish. Even if it's not similar. Like right now I'm studying Burmese, and I've had trouble with that kind of, when I'm trying to think of a phrase, for some reason Spanish pops in there. So that can happen. But it can be an advantage at the same time because you have two different foreign languages, and you can compare them to one another, and that can help you to remember new vocabulary. Sometimes you can play little games with the words and say, okay, this sounds like this, that sounds like that. Like I heard something yesterday. I think it's Haitian Creole. The word for gato is something different. I can't remember what it is. But in Spanish, gato is cat, and Haitian Creole is something else. And I've had this experience over the years with studying a lot of different languages that sometimes you find a word that is pronounced exactly the same, maybe even spelled exactly the same, and it's a different word in that language. So it can help you to remember, to create like funny mental pictures of things to help you to remember, like as a memory aid. So in that way, yes, it can be an advantage. So I will just tell you my personal experience of what I'm doing, what has been working for me as far as studying several languages at once. Right now, I am studying Burmese and French and trying to maintain Spanish. I've been speaking Spanish for a long time, ever since like middle school, and me and Spanish, we have had a love-hate relationship, and that's probably for another video. But I'm still trying to maintain Spanish and improve my Spanish, and so I do practice that every day if I can. And I also am trying to get to a good level with Burmese. Right now I'm still at the very beginning level, but I'm learning how to read, and I'm learning the alphabet, and I'm also learning some basic phrases. And my goal is to eventually be fluent in that language as well. So I'm focusing really on that because I really want to be using the language in a conversational way by this summer. So I'm really focusing on that. French is kind of somewhere in the background. So French is something that I want to use too to communicate with some friends that I have. But it's not as important at this moment as Burmese. So I focus more on Burmese than I do on French. So you see kind of what's going on here, that sometimes, well, what you have to do is you do have to prioritize. Not sometimes, you do have to prioritize. You have to decide which one is more important to you. Which one will you use the most? And sometimes this can change. Like maybe I meet somebody from France, and they decide that, maybe they work at the grocery store where I shop, and they want to have conversations with me every time I come in there. Then maybe French will become more important than Burmese if I find a reason to use it often. So this can change. But what you want to do is you want to try to make it organized. And I am chronically disorganized. This is what I say all the time. But I have learned that if you want to do anything, then you have to keep your stuff straight, because then you'll be a mess. So what I do is I have notebooks for, I have a notebook for Burmese and I have a notebook for French. I put French and Spanish in the same notebook, but I try to keep my things organized. I'm also like picking up a little bit of Korean here and there, so I put the Korean in the Burmese notebook because that makes sense to me. You know, they're Asian countries. So anyway, you want to keep that notebook with all of your phrases and everything, and you want to make sure that you go through those things every day and try to follow some of the tips that you hear people say. You know, talk to yourself in that language. Try to use it every single day. If you're not going to use the languages every single day, then you're going to find that you're going to have to keep going back and learning the basic things over and over again, and you won't make progress in any of them. But if you start to use them every day, then you will start to see that one maybe is more important than the others, and then you can focus your attention on that one primarily, and the others can kind of go slightly into the background until you find reasons to use them. But what you want to do is try to maintain each one. So dedicate time to each one each day. So maybe 20 to 30 minutes on each language. So if you're learning 3 languages, that's an hour and a half. That's totally doable. Even if you have to do it in your car. If you are insistent on learning more than one language at once, then you have to put time into all of them. Sorry guys, that's the only way to do it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any suggestions about other videos, I would love to hear them in the comments. Also, I want to hear about what you did or what you're doing to try to learn more than one language at once.